Welcome, everyone. My name is Shawn Jones, and I am the CEO of the iNetrapreneur Network. And today I have with me an incredible individual. She helps individuals through their recovery process using hypnotherapy. I have with me Mel H. Lopez. Mel, welcome.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So, hypnotherapy. There's different ways for hypnotherapy. You have those that will do it for show, and they'll perform on stage and hypnotize the audience and get them to cluck around the stage. But then there's the professionals like yourself. You have the Rapid Recovery Hypnosis program, and you help individuals through hypnotherapy to recover. Tell us a little bit about what that means.
Well, actually, first of all, I'd like to bust a myth about hypnosis. A lot of people go, as soon as they hear hypnosis, they do think of the stage hypnosis. And you can use it in different ways. The way that I use it is the same, going to the subconscious mind, unconscious mind, which is basically what runs our actions and behaviors throughout the day. And what most people don't know is that we are pretty much in hypnosis throughout the day. And hypnosis is really a fancy word for being in trance. And if you've been washing up, you've been driving, you're in the shower and you're there kind of in trance, and that is hypnosis. It's not complicated, but it's also a method to connect to the parts where runs all our behaviors, like our actions and behaviors. For example, things that we don't think about. Me sitting up like this now, I don't think about it. Me talking, I don't really think about it. The only things that I consciously think about is creating, thinking what to talk about, but the actual act I'm doing, the hypnosis connects to that part of the mind that does things automatically. So the hypnosis that I do to help my clients is to connect to the part that drives the undesirable behavior. And my area of expertise is disordered eating. So anything that is connected to emotional eating, compulsive eating, eating disorders, specifically binge eating, because my clients, even though on the conscious level, they want to make the changes, but like I said, I use hypnosis to connect to the part that is running these behaviors on autopilot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eating disorders are very common, probably more common than what we really talk about or know about. I personally have known individuals who have had eating disorders, whether it's they can't stop the eating process, they just consume. And then the others that they're afraid to put food into their bodies, and it's very real. And the ups and downs, you have the extremes. I binge eat and then I have to purge. Your experience, what's the trigger for people to say, I have this disorder, I need help? Because that's a big step, is first saying, I recognize that I'm having these struggles and I need help. Do people just come on their own? Is it usually somebody else, like a friend or a family member, that says, I know Mel, she can help you?
Well, the truth is, a lot of people have a disordered eating, and without even realizing it, things like dieting. In my books, having gone through all sorts of disordered eating, any kind of behavior where you don't feel like you have freedom, for the typical ones is dieting. And what happens is that the way that our minds work is, when we participate in a behavior over and over again consistently, and especially if you've been dieting for years and even decades, what happens is the brain just creates these into the simplest form to say it's a habit. And then it's not really until when people try to stop is when they realize they have a problem. So you don't really have a problem unless you think it's a problem. It's like people who are always on a diet, because as soon as they stop, they have the undesirable after effects. And obviously with dieting and any kind of disordered, and I call disordered eating because that I deal with not just the eating disorders to the extreme. I help with everything to do with not having that freedom of just eating what you want without the guilt, because there's a lot of emotion attached to it. So yeah, so it is really it's a personal opinion if you have a problem or not. Because I actually I've been through over 22 years of back-to-back addictions, including disordered eating, from anorexia to full-blown binge eating, and spurts of never stop dieting, because that's part of the thing. And now, being over 10 years recovered and tried everything to help myself, I know now it's not about the actual eating itself. It's about what you perceive it to be. And for me, I could, like now, because I'm fully recovered, could easily binge on a big packet of crisps if it was in the cupboard. But my mentality is, oh, geez, I shouldn't have done that. My stomach's hurting. I won't do that again tomorrow. A disordered mindset would be, oh, I can't believe I've done that. I'm just a fat pig. And they'll go through this self chastising oneself, and then having to compensate it. Oh, that's it, I won't eat for the next day. Or if you're a binge eater, you just think, oh, let's just throw everything out and just eat everything inside and start again on Monday or next week. Or to the extreme where they just can't get a grip of themselves, because what happens is, like I said before at the beginning, the mind is always creating. That's the funny thing about the mind. It's always trying to do things easy for you. Everything that you do, often enough, it's like, I want to help you. I want to make it so easy. So if you are dieting all the time, or if you're eating, you're binge eating all the time, the more that you do it, the irony is that it becomes stronger and it's harder to go back. And that's where I come in through the power of the hypnosis. And I don't really like calling it hypnosis because of how it's so it's like it's not portrayed in the right light. But I like to call it just a conversation with the part that really runs this, because once I help my clients disconnect from that association with the food, because it's not about what happens now, it's about all the different life experiences that probably started off as childhood and then has morphed into this almost like a snowball effect. And then you're right at the end, and what happens is a lot of the things that, you know, which is the techniques that people do, they treat the actual binge eating, but it's actually something really lies underneath, and there's just so many layers. And that's what I do with the hypnosis. I embrace the power of hypnosis to connect all the little things that are tied into it, and then one by one my client and I just unpick them and then sew the back up with some, you know, with whatever they want instead, the freedom, what that one.
Yeah. So during, for those that have never gone through hypnosis, help us understand, is it like you put somebody in a trance? Do they change voices during that session? Do you dive back into, childhood traumas? Do they change personalities, and talk from, I call it the inner child. Maybe the inner child's one who's speaking and saying, I used to hide in the closet and eat because my parents would argue. Does that child come out as an example? Or is it really us, ourselves, our subconscious that's saying, I eat because I have stress, or I avoid food because I have that fear of what people will say or judge me for having whatever it is. And then do you implant new thoughts, or do you, after the session, say, this is what was revealed and here are some suggestions? How does this work?
I've actually been in a hypnosis industry for a few years now, and I have tried different modalities. And the truth, be honest, is there are different styles of trying to get somebody into hypnosis. The way I have gone from the traditional, getting them down the stairs on the beach, getting them to relax, getting in touch with the inner child, and then letting them imagine them connecting to those parts. But I've actually redefined the way that I do hypnosis now, and it's actually pretty much the way that we are talking right now. So I would identify, because of my experience now with the subconscious and the conscious mind, I would be able to tell the difference between whether or not I'm talking to your conscious mind right now or the subconscious mind. And as soon as I see an unconscious moment, and we do that all the time, we flit from conscious to subconscious without even us realizing it. Like I said before, we're pretty much in hypnosis throughout the day. And with the sessions with my client, it really is so different from one client to another. It could be because they're in their childhood, but as I've mentioned before, it's not really one thing. It's not even three things. More often enough, it's various little beliefs that have compounded. So I talk to them to find out, almost like in an investigation kind of way, to find out. And sometimes when we get to that hypnotic state, which they go in and out of conscious, like us talking right now, sometimes I don't even talk to the person like this. The body talks. Like, I'm like, oh, why are you crying? And then suddenly, they would feel hot, or their face would flush, and I'll be talking to the flushing of the body. So it doesn't even have to be in a conversation. They don't have their eyes closed. It's completely, and the eyes closed, that happens naturally, but nothing is forced. It's actually the client that drives the session. All I'm doing is spotting the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is a little bit like a child. When you ask the questions about the problem, the child only wants to help. So the subconscious mind, yes, I know the answer. And then I respond, and then I say, take me there. So it's not this woo-woo. However, on some of my sessions, it does end up going to the traditional, where they close their eyes and they just sit there. And the wonderful thing is, once they've connected to the part that has driven the undesirable behavior, it's also the place where they find the solutions that they want. And that's how, once they have found, undone, literally pulled out all the things connected to the disordered eating, they can see a lot clearer. So, for example, they know what to do, not to binge. They know what plans, because this is one thing I don't coach them on how to eat, because I believe we've been on this planet long enough, we know how to eat. And it's almost like once you clear out all that trash in there, that's when the breakthrough happens. And that's why it's so powerful, because it literally goes from disordered eating to, I don't know what the problem is. It's crazy.
Yes, yes. So Mel, your business is the Rapid Recovery Hypnosis Program. If somebody would like to talk to you more about your services and how you can help them overcome their eating disorder, whether it's anorexia, bulimia, or how they view food, how they're using food in their own everyday life, because obviously we have to eat, right? Otherwise, we're not here. How can somebody get in touch with you?
The easiest place, the place that I'm most active, unfortunately, I'm not very techie, so I'm good at the stuff that I do. But my website is great. But like, if you want to see regular content, I'm on Facebook every single day, sharing tips that you can do on a conscious level, and it does work. My tip is, whatever methods that your coach or therapist or mentor is sharing with you, the secret is to keep doing it and doing it again, because by design, whatever you do the most, the brain will do. And I show you how to do that on Facebook, and also a contact if you want to invest in, the Rapid Recovery Program that I do.
Well, Mel, I want to thank you for helping so many people overcome the eating disorders. You are truly helping people view food in a different way, view themselves in a different way. You're helping them to live a happier, healthier lifestyle. And you yourself, who have overcome these challenges, you know firsthand what people go through, what's going through their mind, and the struggles, and they're real and they happen. And so, Mel, thank you so much for coming on today, sharing your business, the Rapid Recovery Hypnosis Program. I'm excited you are also going to be one of the author contributors in the upcoming second book in the series, The Art of Connection, coming out in just a few short weeks. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
For those of you who have just watched, Mel H. Lopez, the owner of the Rapid Recovery Hypnosis Program, she is an upcoming author contributor in the book Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes for Entrepreneurs, Business Owners, and Influencers. To get your copy, maybe you want to contribute as well in the book, and you'd like to find out more about when the next edition is coming to town, visit 365daysofinspirationalquotes.com.